freshman last year. So he's gotten a whole lot better from last year, and I just think there's so much more we can get from Darius, and we will get over time.
Anything else, Coach? Here, look. You got a mic.
I realize you're transitioning to a new job, you're inheriting a team. How much do you find yourself in teaching moments, like when you pulled Darius aside today? How much of that has happened so far this year, and how is that different than maybe teams like the one you had last year where
yeah, I mean, veteran? It's just natural. I've only coached him in 4, 5 games, I guess, if you count the 2 exhibition games. And so, learning me, learning what I value. Believe me, we're trying to infiltrate their minds and practice with all that stuff. But there's nothing like game conditions and game situations. Like we fouled now, I think 3 3-point shooters in 3 games, and we have to learn from those type of moments. And like that's not acceptable to me, and we have to rectify. That's just one of 1,000 things. But I find myself doing that a lot. But I'd also be lying to say that, last year I just sort of sat there on the scorer's table and watched our guys play too. I think that's what your job is as a coach, is to always teach. And I try not to be just a history coach that just says you shouldn't have done that and you shouldn't have done this. I got to try to put them in positions before it happens.
Chris, there was I think the beginning of the second half, I want to say Steven scored the first 10 points for you guys, and he did it in a variety of ways. I mean, generally in the first 2 games he's been an on-the-block guy, but is that the way that you want him to grow? He's
a talent, and he'll get so much better dealing with double teams. If he's not double teamed, he's going to score on a lot of people. And as he keeps gaining game experience after sitting out a year, he's just going to keep getting more and more confident. And his teammates are learning how to feed the post so much better than we did 4 or 5 weeks ago. So to answer your question, yeah, I told you in the very beginning, Steve isn't relegated to a 5-foot chain around the basket. I mean, he can make free throws, he can step out, and we need him to do that on both ends, because the game requires our 5s to be, not just defending a post player. He's got to step out and hedge ball screens. He's got to be able to switch. He's got to be on the perimeter some too, on the defensive end as well.
How did the ball movement tonight look to how you want it to be?
Well, I mean, again, I think anytime you score the amount of points that we did, we got to the free throw line, I thought we were moving the ball. We got to the free throw line an awful lot, made our free throws. Again, when they started post trapping, it gave us problems. But prior to that, I don't know what our points per possession was, but it's as good as you're going to find around the country in terms of like getting the ball movement that we had, getting open shots that we had. I think we had 4 turnovers. I mean, that's, in my opinion, pretty efficient.
I'm sorry, Coach. Kansas seemed to struggle mightily with the 2-man game that Vermont was running. Was that something that you focused on? Was just on those, how to guard those hedges and how to defend that?
It's tough. Again, they're very coy. They're really smart. If you overplay, they backdoor. If you sag off, they pop back. If you try to whip underneath, that little handoff, and he pops back behind and shoots it. 2 guys run out at it, and they just hit him and roll. So they're crafty. And I think their coach does an amazing job of sort of playing chess. He sees who is on who, and that's part of the game that we have to play as well. But we did it well enough until the last 6-7 minutes, and I blame more of our offense than, quite honestly, our defense.
Nor had another good scoring game. Did he do the other things you wanted him to do tonight?
He's getting better. He's far from perfect. I think he's recognizing when he loses his man, when he doesn't stay on his feet. But, he's a big-time offensive talent. And, again, my charge and my quest is to continue to get him better, not just defensively, but offensively as well. Being ball strong and, if he drives to the basket, not using that off arm and getting called for charges. But he can score the ball. We know that. His teammates recognize that. And Jordan continues to get better like most of our players.
Anything else for Coach? Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
So, Darius.